It's a pleasure to welcome you today to the Friends of the Library Candidate Forum. I'm Pat Polly, and I'm the chair of the Friends of the Library, so I get to be in charge tonight, too. I want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, to turn off your cell phones or any other electronic devices that you might have. The Friends of the Library, your host for this evening, is a volunteer nonprofit group that supports the Alleghany Public Library. We do it through funds raised by the Books and Friends, the used bookstore, which is located at 35 North Main Street. Over the past 9 years, the Friends of the Library has donated over $109,000 toward the library building fund. In addition, Friends has paid for books, helped toward subscriptions for audiobooks, paid for programs, purchased pizzas for the youth from the elementary school who have participated in Quiz Bowl and Battle of the Books, and many other associated programs and needs at the library. Tonight we are talking with the Alleghany County Commissioners candidates, of which there are 2 seats open, and as you can see, we have 5 candidates, and all of the candidates for the office are with us tonight, and we do greatly appreciate all of you coming. Thank you. Just a reminder that Tuesday, November the 6th is Election Day, and the polls are open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And the one-stop voting is going on from October the 18th through November the 3rd. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Saturday, 8 to 1. So if you think you're going to be out of town, take advantage of this opportunity that's presented. The final event relating to the election is on November the 16th, which is the canvass of the election, which is where the election is actually certified. And that takes place at 11 a.m. at the elections office. Now, let me introduce the candidates to you. Beginning at my right, Larry Davis and Karen Lees, who are the Democratic candidates for the County Commissioner seats. And on my left, Kathy Murphy and Jean Jones, who are the Republican candidates for the office. And at the far left is John Irwin, who is an unaffiliated candidate. Just a few reminders of the rules as we go on tonight. Reminder to keep all questions brief with no additional commentary. Candidates will each have 3 minutes to introduce themselves. When we get to the questions, candidates will have 3 minutes for responses to those questions, and the signal will be given 30 seconds before time is up. So at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Cliff will flash the 30-second sign. And then at 3 minutes, the buzzer will sound. Questions should be directed to the candidates, and each question must be repeated by the moderator before the timed answer begins. At the end of the forum, we'll allow 2 minutes for each candidate to wrap up anything he wants or she wants to say at the end of the meeting. The debate will be finished by about 8:30, so we plan to finish hopefully about that time. And then following that, the library has provided refreshments, which you'll find out in the library. And after the forum, stop by and visit with your candidates, and have a few refreshments at the same time. We are going to begin, and I assume that there are people in the audience who have questions. If we begin to run out of questions, I have a supply of questions also. So I don't think there will be any lack of questions. We will also begin with question number 1, going to Larry, and then work the way down the line. Question number 2 will go to Karen, and then work the way down and come back to Larry. Question number 3 to Kathy, question number 4 to Jean, and question number 5 to John, each time going in rotation in response to the question. So everybody will have an opportunity to be first. Where is the first question? Well, then I will ask one.
Are we going to start by introducing ourselves?
Oh,
First?
yes, we are. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe I did promise you 3 minutes to tell you about yourself. So with that, Larry, would you like to begin?
I'm Larry P. Davis. I am a candidate for the county commissioner. I've lived here in the county ever since I was 6 years old. I married Debbie Church. We have 3 daughters, Jennifer, Tammy, and Lisa. Have 5 grandchildren. And I am a 1971 graduate of Alleghany High School, and my first job was at Troutman Shirt, where the Wilkes Community College is now. And worked up there 13 years, then I come to work for Alleghany County. I worked for them 24 years, which 20 years was maintenance director of public buildings. Done all the maintenance on the buildings. Had 3 budgets. I had the public build budget, transfer budget for the landfill, and then animal control. And my desire is to work together with people in the office to get more done. Also look at line by line on the different department budgets for the best use of the proposed money needed to keep us above the minimum, yet not wasting anything. I believe it's very important to listen and then talk, not to talk without knowing the facts. So thank you, and I look forward to serving you. Therefore, I'm asking for your vote.
Karen?
I'm Karen Gamble-Lees. I'm also a candidate for county commissioner, and I ask for your vote. Joe's got his hand on his ear. I need to speak louder. I've been married for 35 years to my husband, Marion. We have 2 beautiful daughters and sons-in-laws and 1 granddaughter, and I have 1 daughter right here. She's a hard-working girl, and she had 4 jobs, and now she's down to 2. And both daughters are graduates of Alleghany High School and Appalachian State University. And my father is Tam Gamble, and my mother was the late Iris Gamble. I'm most fortunate to have been raised by the New River by a very supportive family. I attended Piney Creek School and graduated from Alleghany High School, Surrey Community College, and Garner-Webb University. I retired 5 years ago as the school finance director for the Board of Education. I served as the director for 21 years, and I retired with 27.5 years of service. Throughout my career in service, I've worked diligently as an honest and stable steward for public funds, earning my community's respect and trust for over 32 years. After retiring, I've worked part-time for several businesses, and I've done a menagerie of jobs. And I know it's tough to make a living out there in the private sector, but I know the value of the dollar. I've never run for an elected office before, but with my career as the finance director for Alleghany County Schools, I worked with a $15 million budget. That's a larger budget than the current county budget. And I worked diligently to educate Allegany's youth by using the federal, state, and local dollars at the most efficient level. I'm a member, and it's an honor to serve as the Sparta Presbyterian's treasurer, and I've served as Alleghany Education Foundation's secretary, treasurer for 20 years. We work together with a wonderful board of directors and support over $100,000 in scholarships annually. I also serve on the Appalachian District Health Department Board of Directors, and I'm treasurer of the Miles Job Fund, and the Miles Job Fund supports entrepreneurs for Alleghany County, and I hope to earn your vote for Alleghany Commissioner because I deeply believe my work, my life experiences, and my personal stable qualities work well with others to accomplish quality outcomes. I'll use my strong work ethic and strive to improve and enrich our local opportunities and not back down to difficult challenges. I'll use inclusive business practices and concentrate on improving time management.
Buzz.
I like that buzz.
Thank you. Kathy?
My name is Kathy Murphy, and I've lived in Alleghany County for 22 years, been married to my husband Chris for 21 years. I'm not really going to tell you a lot about my educational background or working background because I have a paper here that tells about that, and that will also be in the Alleghany News this week. So instead I want to talk a little bit about where I stand and what I stand for. Many of you already know me through various committees I serve on. I work side by side with people from all parties, Democrats, unaffiliated, and Republicans alike. And the one thing that has really bothered me, I guess, this election period is that when I have done forums or when I've talked to people about what I stand for, is the response I sometimes get about, well, I agree with what you say, you make a lot of good points, you know, I enjoy working with you, but I'm sorry I can't vote for you because of your political affiliation. Well, I think we all need to work for the county to the best of our ability, no matter what party we belong to. And I'm working for the people of the county. And one thing I thought about was, when you go out and you watch a ball game, you root for the home team. You root for Alleghany. You root for those kids. You don't think, well, is their mother a Republican? Is their father a Democrat? You root for those kids because they're the home team. I'm the home team here. And I will work my hardest every day to work for what's best for this county, work for all the citizens of this county. I'll listen to what people have to say. We may not agree on all the issues. We may disagree on a lot of things. But I will listen to what people have to say. And I will do what the people want. And sometimes you have to put your own opinions aside. Sometimes somebody has a better idea than you do. So you need to take everybody, you know, into account on what they believe and what they stand for, and do what's right for the people of this county. And I'll ask for your support in this election. And if you have any questions of me, anything you want me to answer, I'll try to answer it as honestly as possible. And I won't be telling you probably what you want to hear in some cases, but you'll know where I stand. So I would ask for your report, and I would ask when you go into that voting booth that you vote with your mind, and you vote for your heart, and you vote for what's best for Alleghany County.
Gene?
I'm Gene Jones. I live halfway between downtown Sparta and downtown Whitehead. I'm a Wilkes County resident, born and raised, and lived most of my life there in Wilkes County. I'm a '66 graduate of Jonesville High School. From Jonesville High School, I went to Wingate Junior College. It was a junior college then. From there, I transferred to NC State University, where I was a member, very fortunate member of the University Varsity Men's Glee Club. Singing's always been a big part of my life, music has and all. And I also met my wife of 43 years while I was in college. She was a music major at Salem, and we met in a combined concert. We have two daughters, Michelle, who is currently working in Narrows, Virginia with a large outfit, and my younger daughter, Scarlett, who is in Charlotte. For the last 19 years, I was in business for myself. I had a large poultry operation produce between 2.5 and 3 million hatching eggs a year for a company. Prior to that, I was an industrial engineer, director of the quality control for the automotive division of the fabric division for Chatham Manufacturing Company, which is located in Elkin. I am running for county commissioner because of a lot of things. When I moved up here, I sort of swore off of politics because I was heavily involved in politics in Wilkes County. I was an elected official down there, having served on the Wilkes County Board of Education. We have 26 schools in Wilkes County, and with a budget of, at that time when I was on it, of over $55 million for those 26 schools, which is a very trying thing when you're dealing with people's children and people's money. You cannot please everybody. It's the same thing being in any political office. But I began to think about things up here, and I would hear things from people, and I saw things, and I began to write things down and just ask myself questions. And lo and behold, then, back in late January, early February, my political party called me and wanted me to run for office, and I said no. And they said, well, think about it. And I said, no, I don't care anything about it. And he called me back in a day or two later, and I said, yes, I will. And all of that time, I was thinking about all those things I wrote down. I said, there had to be a reason for this, and I think there is. But I'm a member of the Sparta United Methodist Church, a member of Alleghany Rifle Association. I involve myself heavily in community affairs here. I love this place. The farm that I had in Wilkes County, believe it or not, we were in the bottom, but we had a hill that we could go up to, and you looked right over into Alleghany County. And 43 years ago when we got married, that was our goal, to come to Alleghany County. It took me a little longer than I expected, but I finally made it. And I love it here, I love it, and I would very much love the opportunity to serve you as your servant.
Buzz.
I saw it coming.
Thank you. John?
Yes, I'm John U. Irwin Jr. I say to you because there are several John Irwins, or better known as Johnny Irwin. My father was Euless Irwin, who, with my uncle, owned a Chevrolet and Oldsmobile dealership here in Sparta for 25 years. My mother has been a school teacher was a school teacher in the system for over 43 years, now retired. And if she didn't teach you, you're not from here, and that's basically it. When she retired, she was working on her 4th generation. I graduated from high school here in Sparta High School in 1967 and went to Brevard College. At that time, it was a junior college, graduating in 1969. After that, I went into the Marine Corps on active duty in 1971. I'd been in the inactive reserves while I was on a commissioning program while at Brevard. Going enlisted, I was a communicator. Communications chief was my final MOS, my final specialty, if you will. I retired as a Master Gunnery Sergeant, which is the senior rank E9. The largest unit that I worked with would have been a communications squadron with a $50 million budget, approximately $1 billion in equipment, and 1,200 Marines that I helped plan, move, and install the communication system for a Marine aircraft wing during the first Persian Gulf War. Quite a undertaking, I can assure you. I'm married to Brenda McCann, an old high school girlfriend that I ran into at church whenever I came back after my divorce from my first wife of 35 years. I spent 10 years in Wilmington, North Carolina, mostly working for Motorola as a radio salesman, putting in large systems. The last 5 years of my working life, I trained Marines prior to their deployment to Iraq and Afghanistan in the new communications equipment. So I got to work with some of the best and brightest of this nation. At present, I'm Commandant of the local Marine Corps League, the Walter Frank Osborne Jr. Detachment. It's the 3rd detachment that I have formed of the Marine Corps League in North Carolina. Been all over the world. I always wanted to come back to Sparta because I love it. It's home. I'm a member of the Sparta United Methodist Church, where I work with the wood program, delivering wood here in Alleghany County. I go by the mantra, as I told a lieutenant one day, if you're afraid of the answer, don't ask the question. I believe in giving it to you straight and unadulterated. Thank you.
Buzz.
Thank you very much.
Perfect time.
Okay, then we move now to the questions. While you're thinking about a question, let me raise one. Simply because we're here at the library, I'd like for you to tell us, Larry, about the library and any involvement you might have with the library and knowledge of the Northwestern Regional Library System.
Don't know much about the library itself, but I think it's very important for the kids here in Alleghany to have one, and the public, because they could come in, work on the computer, because a whole lot of people don't have them at home. And then I think it's very important to have a library.
Okay, thank you. Karen?
I brought my granddaughter this summer to the public library for the summer reading program, and I thoroughly enjoyed it more than she did, I think. They had so many different programs, and the one program that stands out is the animals. I've never seen such animals in zoos before. They were huge. They were raw meat-eating animals here on these tables. It was kind of scary, to be honest, and the little kids were sitting in the floor real close to these animals, and I knew they were safe, but it was interesting. It's very important that we have this facility because there are so many students that don't have access to the internet. I know you come in and the computers are stacked and there are waiting. And another proof that we need this facility and other facilities available for students is you can go around to different restaurants late at night and there are students sitting in their cars with their laptops working on their homework. So there's a definite need. The regional library system supports this library financially, and also a book swap, it's a very important thing. This library supported my grandmother. She used to have paper bags of books delivered to her from relatives and different library folks, friends. She would read this grocery bag of books in 2 weeks, and then somebody would collect the books and bring more, and that really enriched her life. I'm not a big reader. I like to read magazines, newspapers, and current events. I like to get on the internet, but I have checked out books here lately, and it's taken me a while, but I have thoroughly enjoyed that book. The reason why I don't read books is because I'm the kind of person that can't put it down, and I can't get my other things done, and I'm a little bit busy these days. So. But I have thoroughly enjoyed reading that book, and I plan on continuing choosing other books from here.
Kathy?
Well, I would say I'm a big supporter of the library. I'm a card-holding member of the library. My first recollection of the library is when I was in 4th grade. I was what you might call a slow reader. You know, if you can't read, you have problems with all your studies. And I was actually in, I don't know if it was called the same thing it's called now, but it was a special reading class. And part of that program was for me to get a book from the library and learn it, read it good, and then read it to a kindergarten class. And that's really where my love of reading began, because I felt like I was somebody. I was in 4th grade, but I felt really mature that I was reading that book to those children. So ever since then, I have been a large supporter of the library, an avid reader, as is most of my family. I would say that the library is essential to this. The programs they put on throughout the summer and throughout, the weeks that they get funding from other organizations like the Arts Councils and different things, and I try to attend those whenever I can. I always find them greatly enjoyable. I always think it's a shame that the turnout is not there, because people say all the time, I hear them say, well, there's nothing going on in Alleghany County, or there's nothing to do, or we can't afford to do it. Well, these are free programs put on for the public at this library, of, you know, anything from music to artwork to reading programs for the children that our community ought to take advantage of. I support them. I have supported the library monetarily. I have made donations of books, of movies. I've also made donations to the bookstore, and I'm getting ready to make a big donation from the books. From the books. Most of them are new books, books that I have bought myself, that we're at River Country Estates, where we had a lending library, and since that facility has closed, I mean, it's hundreds of books. So I'm going to be going through them and donating those. And the other thing is the internet system, you know, that I had known numerous children that come to my house when they were working on their senior projects that knew that I had, you know, internet, and said, can I please use it? I need to do this, you know, senior project on a computer, and they don't have that access at home. So the library is essential for those people. Also, not just children. I mean, there's many adult seniors that use it for job research or for other research. So I'm a large supporter, and I will continue to support the library in any way I can. Thank you.
Gene?
Thank you. I very much appreciate the work of the library. I appreciate the programs that they provide for all ages, especially for children. I appreciate the work done by each and every one of the people who work here, and even those who volunteer. The library is important. If you've been to school at all, in college and all, you know how important the library can be to you. It's you either use the library or you don't get through school. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not take advantage of libraries today. It's sort of like, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And even myself, I seldom, if I ever come over to the library, but we do have an abundance of books at home. But I do read a lot. Most of my reading is periodicals. I enjoy my magazines and all, but I'm very supportive of the library. The library is something that I realize a community needs to have, and especially the computers. The few times that I have been over here, I will have to say the same thing to Karen. They weren't only people sitting there, they were other people waiting to get on those computers. And it was people probably who did not have a computer at home. So it is a valuable asset to our community, a very valuable asset.
John?
Well, I remember whenever I got interested in reading, and I can thank John Miller for that. He got me interested, and I can remember the first book, White Fang. And I've been reading ever since. I'm a voracious reader, both periodicals and history and biography. I contribute to the library, the books that once I've read them, then they end up here. I support the library. I feel that it's necessary in a community such as ours. We've got to have a location where people can come and utilize the internet facilities. It's become an integral part of our society. The books are there. I remember while I was on active duty and writing my research paper for my bachelor's degree, coming up here and getting Minaloo Irwin to help me write my research paper. I did the writing, she did the correction of spelling and the grammar. But my research came from this library. I know the importance of what it really is. Now granted, over my student years in Sparta High School and the elementary school, most of the library books I got out of Sparta High School. But I remember in summer reading programs where I participated, this was the place to be. It does a lot for the community, for the children of the community. It gives us an outlet. It's important. I support it. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you. Does the audience have a question, Connie?
I'd like to know if everyone's familiar with Golden Leaf program and what it means to the library. This library is very, very busy. I don't think they're aware of the amount and numbers of people that go through here.
Thank you, Connie. The question is, are you aware of the Golden Leaf Foundation and what that funding might mean in terms of the library? With that, Karen, you have this question to begin with.
I'm happy to take this question. I'm very familiar with the Golden Leaf process. I've been included with that process from day one, pretty much. And the Golden Leaf Foundation awarded the Miles Job Fund $75,000 for loans for entrepreneurs for Alleghany County to start their own businesses. And I'm not certain about the library right now. It's still on task and uncertain, is that right? So I've still got my fingers crossed that they'll come across with it, and it would make a world of difference for us. Yes. And I know we're out of space. It makes me uncomfortable to go in there and sit at those computers because it is so tight. I like to have my space, and I know other people do too. You don't even have room to put your purse, your book, your personal self. You feel so crowded. We need the space, and it's a wonderful resource that's offered here. And Debbie and the staff makes you feel welcome the second you hit the door. You don't, even if you've not been in here for 6 months at a time, she welcomes you like you came in yesterday. And the children, I think, feel the same way. My granddaughter is from Mount Airy, and she came up here, and she felt just right at home. I'm hoping and praying that the Golden Leaf will come through for the library.
Kathy?
I'm very aware also of the Golden Leaf process. I sat in on all the meetings and fought hard, tried to get on the panel that actually chose those projects. One of my interests was, educational and cultural were two of my main objectives of projects. And actually I recommended a project that after I saw what the library had recommended, my project was very similar, because the thing I was looking for was a cultural center possibly, and a place where there was like access to computers, a place for people to come and see exhibits, and just a meeting place and a place to possibly put on productions, and went to a museum down in South Carolina, Columbia. It was an old cotton mill that had been converted into it, and it had interactive exhibits, and that just sticks in my mind. And so when I saw different projects, it stuck out to me when people were talking about their projects. Well, these projects are almost kind of the same project, and that if organizations would get together, and support each other on a like project, that it's more apt to happen. And the library definitely needs more space, needs to be able to expand, and I 100% hope that the Gold Leaf Foundation does give that library that grant, because it's much needed. I know the library was on the ballot several years ago about the library and building on, and I voted yes for that proposal. So I'm definitely for it, and I pray every day that comes through for the library.
Gene?
May I ask, how much was requested for the library from the?
$500,000.
$500,000, okay. Well, I'm sure the $500,000 would be a very good use for it here. And as far as the Golden Leaf, I am not all of that familiar with it, other than the fact that I have never sat in a meeting, but from what I was exposed to with it in Wilkes County and all. But the only negative I've ever had with the Golden Leaf, I've always thought, as have a lot of people, that a lot of their funding is questionable at best. Now, I'm not talking about the library, I'm not talking about other things, but over the years, there's been a lot of questions about their funding. But I can see very much, even sitting here, immediate needs of the library. And I'm sure with that much money, I'm sure that you would use it correctly. that you would use it to enlarge, to enhance, and to better provide for the people who are presently using the library.
Thank you. John?
Yes, my view of the Golden Leaf program, I don't know the intricacies, of course, have not researched it to the nth degree, but to me, the Golden Leaf is a source of funding for worthy community projects. And that is the secret right there, worthy community projects. And certainly our library is one. The difference between the library now and whenever I remember it as a young man is, you never saw that many adults in this library. It's evolved now, where we have children using the library and adults. So as we can see, just looking here, we've run out of room. So I would support the Golden Leaf grants, do everything that I could for the improvement of our library and any other worthy project in the county.
Larry?
Well, I don't know much about the Golden Grant system, but I think if we could get it, then it sure would benefit this library.
I won't take time now to respond to what happened with Golden Leaf, but their decision has been made, and we did not get the $500,000 that we had requested, just so everybody knows. Joe Jones, do you have a question?
I don't think I have to remind anyone in this audience and other candidates that we have a terrible unemployment rate here in this county and in all of western North Carolina. Over the last few months and years, there's been a lot of news articles in the Alleghany News about the seasonal jobs that come up related to tourism and Christmas trees and all that. My concern is, what do we do about getting permanent private sector full-time jobs in this county? And so my question is this: what do you believe the role of a county commissioner is in recruiting and identifying and recruiting full-time jobs or businesses that can provide those jobs? Thank you.
The question is, what do you as a county commissioner think you can do to help with permanent full-time jobs in the county, not the temporary ones or the part-time ones? With that, we begin with Kathy.
Well, I can say that I have recently joined the ranks of the unemployed, so I know where it's at. And I was actually an independent contractor, so what an independent contractor is, that's somebody that you know, somebody will hire, that way they don't have to pay them benefits, they don't pay taxes on you, they don't pay unemployment on you, they just pay you, you know, straight contract wage for, you know. So I'm not eligible for unemployment or anything else. So right now I'm all right, but if it lasts very long, I'll be in not very good financial shape. And so I'm seeking employment, but at the present time I've decided, since a lot of people said I'd probably be good at it, to open my own business. And so I'm hoping it's going to be successful, and I'm hoping it'll get to the point where I can hire, you know, I'll need employees and I'll be able to hire employees. I think we need to support our local businesses, number one. I think that the day of textile, obviously of furniture mills and those kind of things are gone. The infrastructure and the roads have a lot of impact on who will come here because of the transportation system. So I do know there's a widening project coming up on 21, so hopefully that'll benefit the community, and the bypass project is been funded, I think, for 2015 to begin. So there are things that are going to be going on as far as helping the roads, and hopefully that'll help, you know, people to want to come here more for a bigger industry. But entrepreneurship and supporting our local business is number one, because 60% of what a person spends at a business, that goes to pay the employees. So the more we spend in our local businesses, the more those people can employ local people in those businesses. And I'm president on some committees, and we're working hard on Shop Local campaign right now, and it's Good Neighbors, Buy Local. Well, it's not Buy Local, it's Choose Local, because buy is not we're supposed to choose, not buy. So that's a campaign we're working on, and we're going to be promoting that. And I started boycotting Walmart quite a few years ago. At Christmas, I try to shop all local. Told my husband last year, what I did is I went to some local businesses where they had some stuff I wanted, and I went in there and I said, if my husband comes in, this is what I want. And when he said he was going shopping, I told him where to go, and I got what I wanted for Christmas. So, and I know the chamber does gift certificates that are good at local businesses that you can buy for people if you don't know what they want. They're good at grocery stores, they're good at fuel companies. You know, the county gives those to their employees as bonuses to try to help support the local businesses. So.
Jean?
I want to address the first part of Joe's questions where we was talking about seasonal workers and all. I work seasonal with one of the larger tree growers. I knew the gentleman before I moved up here, and that was one of my questions that I asked him about that. And he said, you know, we have tried everything in the world. He said, not only myself but other tree growers, to hire a lot of the people around here that don't have jobs. They're just not willing to work. They won't do it. And I've heard people say, well, I wouldn't work for that amount of pay. But let me tell you something. The crews, most of the crews, the Hispanic crews that we use to cut our trees and all, are working in strawberries for a farm out in Laurel Springs right now. Each one of those workers is making $100 to $115 a day. That's not bad pay. But they will tell you the same thing. No, you can come back over here, try to find locals to work. They're not going to do it. They had rather draw than to work. Now, the other part of the question, I think, like Kathy said, I think big business is sort of out of the question for the time being with the state of our national economy, our state economy, and everything else, plus our location. But we've got a wonderful location. I think what we're going to have to do, and I've said it before, is number one, realize what we are and to build upon what we are. We're an important place. We're one of the prettiest places you can ever go to. You cannot come and drive through Alleghany County, I don't care which way you come, and not see beauty. From all four corners, you can see beauty. Yes, we don't have a lot of things other than the beauty here to attract, other than the fact they won't have any problem finding a parking place in downtown if they come to Spartan. We need to work closely with our businesses. We need to help teach our owners of our buildings and all that they need to be business friendly. Friendly to people who want to open businesses. Not try to take everything from them to begin with. Let them get started, and as they make money, the business owner is going to make, the owner of the buildings will make money. But there are a lot of little things, and I think there are a number of small things that we could get going here. And you say what? Well, I've written down a lot of things. I've mentioned the water. Water is one of the biggest resources we have here. And bottled water is the fastest growing drink industry in this nation. We've got oodlings of homes and everything else, farms around this county, that get their water out of a hillside, down a pipe. We could have a water co-op. You say, well, that's far-fetched. There's a lot of things that are far-fetched. But we're going to have to look at a lot of things and say, maybe we can make this work.
John?
Interesting question, and it's a complicated one. The last 5 years, whenever I was training, it was out of Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina, or South Carolina is known as business friendly. Their income tax structure is business tax structure, their regulation structure, their enforcement is much different from what it is in North Carolina. And South Carolina's got a business boom going on. I watched Boeing put in that $1 billion plant down there. Same thing with Virginia. So there's a lot that we are influenced that we cannot change because it's coming out of Raleigh and also the federal government. Yet at the same time, here in Alleghany County, we have taken our safety net that we have provided our workers whenever they are laid off, we've turned it into a hammock. Gene and I delivered a load of wood to a gentleman. He's standing there watching us unload the wood because he's got a bad back. He couldn't help us. And I looked at him and Well, is that why you're unemployed? Yeah. Odd, I went out of the airplane at 6'1". I've had 2 back surgeries, and I'm the one that's loading and carrying the wood to him. He's never had a surgery. I've had people come to me whenever I offered them a job at my house, and they say, "No, I can't work for that. I'd stay at home, make $20 less, and it's worth it." So we've got to change attitudes. As a county commissioner, you've got to be a cheerleader for this county. But
Larry?
I think the people that's, working, that's not working now, they probably, looking for a handout, really. They don't wanna work. As long as they can get something for nothing, they'll probably stay right there. And also, I think whoever gets in there, if they'll go to Raleigh or somewhere, they should be able to get some more small businesses to come in here. Cause they're getting them down below, so why can't we get some?
Karen?
What can we do to get permanent jobs? That's difficult, but it starts with small business here, I believe. I don't believe we're going to be fortunate enough to have a large business to come in and have 2 or 3 or 400 employees. That's not gonna happen anytime soon, at least. So I think we have to depend upon our own smarts and our own courage, and we have to do it ourselves. We're gonna have to, like Kathy said, support our own local businesses. My husband and I met 35 years ago, or 36 years ago, at the Autumn Leaves Festival, so we make it an annual trip to go down there for that festival. And I'd never noticed it before, but when we drove up, there's a simple sign. It's beautiful. It's green, and it has black font, and it's a beautiful font, and it simply says, "Thank you for shopping in Mount Airy," or "Thank you for shopping Mount Airy." And I thought, how simple. That would be a beautiful sign on one of our Sparta buildings. And sometimes it is a problem to find a parking place, Gene, in Sparta, downtown Sparta. It's Saturdays are pretty busy, and, you know, people are like cows. You see one cow move, you'll see all of them move. I think people are the same way. You see somebody will say, "Oh, I shopped at such and such store, and this was great. I found my such and such." I think we can support ourselves. We've got to be smart about it and work hard at it. I think agriculture is a big resource that we need to support larger than we already are. That's a big part of our economy right now, and we've already got resources, and I think we can expand upon it. We have to have a little more support over here and a little more push, but that's a simple thing. I've been told for a simple, maybe $5,000, we can get a whole new position at our agriculture extension office. The Miles Job Fund has been very successful. For a small amount of money, Kathy, if you need a loan, just come and see us. A small amount of money can start a good business. We've had several businesses to start right here in Alleghany, and it was just from someone dreaming. And somebody starts coming in and they tell us about their dream, and then they start working on their business plan, and they start working on that business class, and first thing you know, they do have their business.
All right. Another question? Dennis?
As our rights continue to be eroded, I'd like to know where each one of you all believe our rights come from. Who gives them to us?
The question is, where do our rights come from? And we begin with Eugene.
Basically, I believe our rights come from above. Then we're given rights through our Constitution, enable rights. our rights, most of our rights have been eroded. And they've been done in such small increments over such a long period of time that we don't even realize that it's happening. But it has happened. If somebody had told me right now that we would be in the shape that we are in this country, even 10 years ago, I would have laughed at them. But when I look at history, when I read the Constitution, when I read what led up to the Constitution and everything in there, you see a pattern. You see a pattern. And we live in a society today. We have built a society, I say we, some have built a society of gimmies. Gimmies. Trying to convince people that government is the answer. As Ronald Reagan said, government's not the answer, government's a problem. The problem with government is they're in our bedroom, they're in our bathroom, they're in our kitchen, they're in every part of our lives. And that is why our lives are in such confusion. Government is out of control, not only federal, state, but also locally. While we were sitting at the forum in Turkey Knob the other night, with a county debt of a little more than $10 million, the majority of our current county commissioners increased our debt another third of $1,000,000. We cannot continue to do that. And you say, what's that got to do with rights? Taxes. Taxes. Are taxes right? Yes, to an extent. But no, not to another extent. This business of tax and spend has got to quit. This business of government telling us what we can do, when we can do it, and everything else has got to stop. We own our own lives. I own my life. You own your life. Everybody in here, they own your own life. It's not the government's responsibility to educate us, to feed us, to be our bank card, to be our mommy and our daddy and everything else. It's up to us. If we don't have personal responsibility, we drift further and further and further behind. And we've got a vast majority of people in this nation that are doing this right now because they think, Uncle Sam, government is going to take care of me. Government owes me. Government doesn't owe you anything. And government can't give you anything that it first doesn't take away from you. Because government doesn't make money. Government takes money.
Suppose.
Thank you, Gene. John?
Very simply, we receive our rights from God. Period. No more discussion. Even our Constitution is based on Christian ethics, Judeo-Christian ethics. Now, everybody looks at government today as where we go for protection. You know, it's odd. In a city, you look for the police to protect you. In the country, that's why we keep our guns. Because we know it's going to take a little bit for that sheriff's deputy to get there, if he gets there in time. Government, and I've seen it at its worst. I was there whenever Saigon fell. You don't want to see a country fail. I was there at the beginning of the downfall of Marcos in the Philippines. You don't want to see that. I was in Chile under Pinochet. Say something bad about Pinochet, you disappeared. That is the power of government. For 27 years, my mission was to seek out, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver. Now I'll tell you the rest of it. If I gave an order to a Marine and he refused it, I would have killed him on the spot. And nothing would have happened to me because government gave me that power. It can be dangerous. And we are in dangerous times. Look at history. History teaches us what unfettered government will do. Read the history of Rome, where they gave out food for votes so that they could become a senator. Sound familiar? 47% of this nation don't pay income tax now. And I got news for you. There's a lot of people that make the money that are leaving the country They've got the money, they can leave. So, where do we get our rights? From God. We also need His guidance whenever we do a little bit of voting also.
Larry?
I agree with John. We get our rights from God, and I also believe that the Constitution, this generation now coming up, they don't believe too much in the Constitution, really, in the rights. They sort of go against them.
Okay. Karen?
I believe basically we get our rights from God. That's the basic right. And past that, I believe that the Constitution was written with God in mind and His power. And past that, I've worked for the government. And